Okay, welcome everybody to 3 Secrets to Creating a Joy-Filled Soul-Based Practice. I am so happy that you are here. And as people dribble on, I'm Dr. Shannon South, if you don't already know me. And as people dribble on, I just want you to send me a chat and tell me where you're from and your name and what most excites you about creating a soul-based practice. Hi, Daniel. So just dive on right up here and you can go to the chat box and just put in what would excite you about having a soul-based practice. What does that even mean to you? Does that ring any kind of bells for you? Is that just a weird woo-woo word? If you have any comments on that, let's just put them in the chat and tell me your name and where you are from. I know we have Chris from Houston. Are you at your home, Chris? Houston, Texas? She said, hi, I'm here. Good. Good. We've got Daniel, it looks like, from Asheville, and Rob from outside of Asheville. Good. And soul-based, curious about what that means, part of why you're here. Perfect. And we have Pete. And soul means to Pete, deep, thoughtful, meaningful, higher self. Fantastic. That sounds really good. So let's dive right in to see how this begins to look. So I'm so happy that you're here because I have found over the last 20 years in doing this work that this is the most powerful transformative approach that I've ever been trained in. And my mentors learned from, they created this process over 30 years of testing what makes people transform. And so to see people move from panic, depression, fear, trauma, anxiety into peace, love, joy, freedom, and integration of sorts of their best selves is what I'm here to talk about today. So if that interests you, you're totally in the right place. So one request is please shut off any distractions. I've got you on mute, so don't worry about that. Your presence is a true presence to us, and you'll get more out of this. So we're going to cover what is a soul-based practice, what the heck am I talking about, what are 4 myths of having a soul-based practice, what are some truths about what that looks like. We're going to go over 3 secrets, and that's why you came, to creating a joy-filled soul-based practice. And at the end of the time, if you hang on with me long enough, I'm going to send you a Clarity Deep Dive formula. And this is a tool that I use with my clients because my clients come in, most of them really don't feel clear about something. And I give them this tool called the Clarity Deep Dive, and it helps them focus their attention to where they can actually get to the root of the issue and get away from all the fluff and the distraction and help get really strong and clear about where they want to go in the session and the work with me. Some people may know, but this really helps clean out the fuzz, so to speak. So I will be sending you that as we move into at the end of this call. And it helps people move from anxiety and negative patterns to power and self-love. So hang on for that. It's going to be a good one. So is this training for you? If you want your clients to develop a deeper relationship with themselves, then yes. Or have healthier relationships with others, because of course that informs their relationship to themselves, correct? And developing a relationship with their soul. Now, what in the world is that? We're going to go into that. And they're what they call in my training, I have my doctorate in transpersonal psychology, and they call it your super conscious self, meaning the part of you that's wisest, most loving, and just has a knowing about what's best for you. Because we know when we're off. So how do we know when we're on, right? Where we're lined up and integrated and feeling whole and clear and good. So we want to know what that feels like, and we can help our clients do that. And then if you want to help your clients heal from trauma patterns, that's my background. I've been working with trauma for a long time. And then also growing into more self-actualization and joy and getting beyond the drama. Dun, dun, dun. We love this because drama, we have enough drama, and clients bring in tools and boxes of drama. And how do we help them move beyond the drama? The reason I love these soul-based approaches is because it gets that mental chatter, what we call repetition compulsion, that part that goes chat, 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 chat. It calms that down and moves the brain into a creative space. for healing. So I believe the brain is meant to be used for creativity instead of worry and stress and trauma, unless we're running from a big Tyrannosaurus Rex. So another reason to be here is if you want to help clients go beyond their diagnosis and experience themselves as empowered spiritual beings. And they don't even have to call themselves spiritual beings. If they want to experience their own power, then that's another reason to be here. And then help your clients get to the root of their problems and transform them for good, so they can get more out of their relaxation and meditation training. If your clients are doing relaxation exercises, that is great. We want that. And also, if you want to teach them meditation, that is great. But what I found with these practices is meditation, sometimes they can't sit still to meditate. So we need to help them move into healing. And through these practices, we can. And if you want to help your clients feel more connected with their loving joy, full possibility. And my dog likes that. She's saying woof to that. Okay. Hey there, Kenneth. And so, hi, I'm glad you're here. So we have some chatting. Everybody just pop on and tell us where you are. Looks like more people are coming on. Good. So we got Chris, we got Kenneth, Rob, Pete. Yay, so good. All right. So if you want to have more joy and lightness in working with heavy issues and more energy at the end of the day, then this process gives back to you. So when you work with clients, they start to feel better and you immediately feel their shift and the energy comes back to you. It's a beautiful thing to see. Another thing I've noticed is if you want to trust and empower your clients instead of rescuing them and carrying the problems for them, then this will help you do that as well. Because I know we are trained as therapists to carry the weight of the world sometimes, and we want to move beyond that. And if you want to approach things more spiritually and soulfully instead of being codependent or over-empathizing, then you're in the right place. And I apologize for my silly dog. I don't know what she's barking about. All right, so if you want to keep growing alongside your clients and making each moment count, and if you, like me, seeing your clients feel fantastic, then I'm glad you're here. So let me tell you a little bit about this gal that I saw. She gave me permission to share this. She sent me this postcard and it said, do one thing every day that scares you. And I worked with her for around 6 to 8 months. And we did this process. And when she came into me, she had actually been shot in a drive-by shooting in a fast food restaurant, and someone had shot her. The bullet came through, it went into her leg, and she was recovering. She'd recovered more physically, but she had PTSD to the point where she couldn't work, she couldn't sleep, she was having panic attacks, and she came in and she was a true wreck. And oh, good. Hi, Daniel from Asheville. Good. So one thing so she said to me at the end of working with me, and let me show you what happened as she went through this. She sent me this sweet, sweet card. She said, when I met you, I was a mess. I felt broken. Today, I feel healed. My soul feels whole, but forever learning. I look forward to the future. I'm in love with the present and thankful for my past. And that was huge for her to get there because she felt so broken. She could barely get to the sessions. And I thought, gosh, am I going to have to change my model and start going to the houses like some of you guys do? I know some of y'all are social workers and you go to people's houses to actually help them. And she said, I promise I won't waste this opportunity. So this is what some of these soul-based approaches helped her get to this place. And then some of you know my story and some of you don't. This is me in my 20s. I was a wreck. I had panic disorder. I had PTSD. I had depression. I was a lot like her. I couldn't drive well. I was just a wreck, and I didn't sleep well. I was not able to digest my food well. And I've heard of science of meditation. I thought, oh, meditation's supposed to help calm your nervous system. I need to go get trained in this. So one day I was meditating, and I was sitting in my room, and all of a sudden I was going to get off this medicine that I'd been given, which had helped me to a point. But I was determined to get off this medication. I did not want to be on medicine. And I'm not by any way advising anyone to get off medicine tonight, by the way. But what I did was I was sitting in meditation, and all of a sudden these panic symptoms came back. Like my chest was tight, my body was hurting. And I said, oh my God, if there's anyone out there, please help me. And I felt this wave of joy, love, and peace come over my body and go into my being. And I never had a panic attack again. Now you may say, oh my gosh, what in the world was that? And that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, What happened in that moment? So that informed the rest of my life. So let's move up to the 40s, right? So here I am in my 40s. I had gone and finished my master's in counseling, and I went ahead and got a doctorate in spiritual psychology because I wanted to know what the heck happened to me and how did this healing happen, because I wanted my clients to have this. I wanted them to have what I had found. And so that's how I got into this field. So I got to work with some amazing people like Marcy Shimoff, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Woman's Soul. I've gotten to do some amazing things as I've moved into my career and have been out helping people, training them in soul-based practices. I got to be on TV. I have these crazy pursed lips right there. I got to go travel. This is one of my trips to India with Dr. Norman Shealy, who's a holistic doctor. I just had such a wonderful time with him. And I've gotten to do trainings at the hospital settings and different recovery centers to help people really get in touch with the deepest, wisest part in themselves so they in turn can help their client do that. So this is me at Mayhec, and I was there, and they won't let you take pictures of the participants, so that's why I look so silly, is here I am waiting for people to show up. So this is what one of the gals said in my retreat, and then we're about to get into the soul. What is a soul-based practice? She said the training was exceptional. Dr. Shannon was at ease. I liked her authenticity. The interactive nature of the materials was good. Thank you for an inspirational day on a personal and professional level. So what is this soul-based practice? It's not a religion. You don't even have to be religious for this to work, nor do your clients. I basically have the premise that you're a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. And so you don't even have to believe that for these practices to work. I've had clients come in and them to say to me, I'm not spiritual. And I find it so interesting. They choose me, right? And they're like, I'm not spiritual. But then when we go in and do this process, they find something they can connect to, like a feeling of love or a feeling of joy or a feeling of presence inside of themselves. And it makes them feel expanded and more whole. So I love this quote by Carl Jung. He's one of my mentors, and he's clearly not alive anymore, as we know. But Dr. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you really are. And so if this interests you, let's keep going. So I love the saying, it's your relationship to what is, not what is, that's the problem. And the solution. That's my true belief. Because if we can help the clients find how they're relating to the problem, we can help them find the solution. And so cognitive therapy tells us this, other modalities tell us this, but the soul-based practices take us directly to the relationship, to what went wrong, and then we can maneuver it towards the future. So one reason why meditation fails and these breathing exercises are the trauma patterns, like what we mentioned earlier. People can't sit still. And so how do we help them shift into this more peace and love in their system? So let's go even beyond meditation and relaxation and help them in the office, in that short time we have, connect with something deep, important, and move that into their system so they can become that person they want to be. And that's why I love these practices. So I love this quote. It says, you have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you. None can make you spiritual. There's no other teacher but your own soul. So what's a soul-based practice? So this is a gal that I trained in my processes, and she's an art therapist here in Asheville, and she's a wonderful gal. And she does other things as well. But she said she worked with a client using these practices with complex trauma and child abuse. And this gal had debilitating panic. And she said after she did this process that she had a strong sense of peace. And she said, I've never seen her like that. She was laughing more fully in her personality and body and truly calm. I hadn't even seen her sit in her chair comfortably until after this. It was amazing. So you know that feeling when clients are super, super nervous and neurotic, just so tense trauma feeling. So let's look at this. What is one of the myths of having a soul-based practice? Because this can sound all like, wah, and it's not. There's a strategy to this, and I'm going to be showing you pieces of that tonight. I wish I could show you the whole thing in an hour, but I can't. But we're going to do our best to get as much as we can in at least the next 30 minutes. So myth number one is all you have to do is ask your clients to pray, meditate, or call on their higher power, and miracles drop in their lap. Well, that may happen, but it may not, right? And so that may not be the approach that works. So we want to have more strategy to this. But that's one of the myths of having this kind of practice. Also, the soul's like Santa Claus, right? And people get what they want when they write out the list and are being good. We know that's not true. It's not this instant gratification thing. that sometimes we go into the hard things to get to the good things, and that's what creates the synergy of the soul-based practice. So, but I always think that it's funny because some people come in and we're in such an instant gratification culture that we want it now, we want it fast, we want it right away. And so that's not a soul-based practice either. And then the myth number 3, we can skip the emotions, we can skip the body sensations, we can skip the negative attitudes and transcend all the hard stuff for healing. And this is not a spiritual bypass, folks. If you want a spiritual bypass, you're in the wrong place. We have to tend to the weeds so we can have the flowers in our garden. And then myth number 4, all we have to do is get clients to sit still and listen to their soul, and they'll talk to them in words and sentences. And that's not true either. What I find with my clients is they are mostly confused when they go inside and try to find an answer. They hear lots of chatter. And so that is not, and we want to help them get clear, and we do that through this. Thank you, Tamara. Good. She said she loves that. No spiritual bypass. Yeah, we're not here to bypass the trauma. We need to use that as fuel for the fire. In my training, they call that the emotions are the gas to the car. So we actually go into the feelings and the somatic piece and move into the transformation. And it's a beautiful thing to see how we put this all together. So we're going to even get beyond mindfulness. I love mindfulness. I'm trained in mindfulness, but let me tell you, this stuff gets right to the root and moves the transformation. I love the whole thing, though. That's a beautiful practice, and I teach that too. So the truth about soul-based practice, you can use faster, super effective strategies that dive deep to the root of the problem and connect with your client's soul. You can. And we're going to be going into some pieces of that in the 3 secrets. Also, truth number 2, soul healing comes through an expanded state of consciousness. It does. You will feel the expansion in your office with folks. It's really cool to see. So we can have clients move out of this contraction. Think about trauma. When they're in trauma, they're in contraction and survival. When you're in anxiety, you're in contraction. When you're in depression, you're in contraction. And we're going to help them expand into their true nature, which is joy, love, peace, wisdom, all those wonderful things. And I love this Lucille Ball quote. It's a hell of a start being able to recognize what makes you happy. We want to have clients actually experience what makes them happy, because a lot of them can't even remember any good memories from their childhood. They're all bad memories. They can't even find a good memory. And we want to give them that experience in the office with us so they can begin to sense hope, and there's a way out of this stuff. So soul healing can be felt and seen in the body through a shift in the emotions, a shift in the perception, and you'll feel it. There's sometimes you'll feel the less tension in the body. You'll ask them, there's an opening in the face sometimes. There's a joy. There's a delight. There's like an awe or silliness. I had a guy the other day. He was so cute. He said, I haven't felt joy in so long. I've been so depressed. At the end of the session, he was like a giddy kid, like jumping around. He said, it feels so good to be connected with this joy. And so then we work to help him protect and contain and maintain. And then this happy cry moment, or the heart opening. And sometimes you'll cry because it feels so nice to see that shift. And then truth number 4, clients can become more self-actualized, which, what does that mean? Achieving, we heard that through Maslow, Abraham Maslow. Do you remember his triangle? He's helped you move to self-actualization, and it's about achieving their full creative, independent, spontaneous, spiritual potential through these practices. And we actually integrate the old patterns, like we said, connecting them to their true nature. So this is Vicki. She was in my training program, and she said this about using this practice. She sees teenagers a lot. And she said, the spiritual advice that comes from the hearts of these young teenagers gives me great joy. And then the adults as well. She said her jaw drops when she hears it. Sometimes I'm always like, as I move into this process, I don't know what's going to come out of the client's mouth when we get to these certain places. And often feel like Vicki, my mouth wants to drop open. But anyway, helping adults learn to trust themselves and let go into the freedom of healing is a true joy. And she said spiritual psychology truly helps people heal deeply. So let's jump into having this super effective soul-based processes. So does anyone have any questions before we get into secret number 1? Any questions? You can put them in the chat right here, and then we'll open up for questions verbally later. But just use your chat box and put them in the chat if you have any questions about what I've said. I think people have introduced themselves some. Tamara, Daniel, Chris, Pete, see Kenneth. Hi, Kenneth. I think everybody's ready to move on. Got some good counselors here. I love it. Some well-trained folks. Oh, good. We got another chat. Let's see. Brittany, yay. Are you still in Costa Rica?
Yes.
Yay. Awesome. I think you win the furthest away award, Brittany.
Nice view.
Awesome. I bet. I wish we could see. So secret number one for having a soul-based practice. And you guys dive in and get, I'll let you have some time to share as well as we go through the secret. Here's one, Tamara. I was at your demo person at the training night. Oh, yeah. I still attribute that. It's helped me launch. Oh, my gosh. I totally remember you. It's Tamara, right? Or Tamara? I'm saying it wrong. I totally remember working with you. That's wonderful. I am so happy you are here. This is a true joy. So you know how this process works. That is great. Yippee. So secret number one. So we connect to the soul through images and symbols. So you remember the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Do you remember that saying? So let's see what that means. So I love this painting by Leonardo da Vinci. No, this is a Picasso, excuse me. And the dancing around the peace dove. And if you look at that, you think, wow, that gives you a feeling of something, right? And so James Hillman, he's a psychologist and wrote the book, The Soul's Code. He said, when you want to know what your soul wants, turn to your images. So this is why images are so, so important. So what does symbols or images do? Symbolic refers to that which brings together. So images and symbols, they bring together the conflicted parts of the client. So let's say one part of the client really wants to get better and the other part of the client does not want to get better. Or one part of the client really knows how to care for themselves and the other part of the client shames and sabotages themselves. These conflicts are common. And so how do we bring together the two different opposites? Using symbols is one way. So the integration occurs on a deeper lasting level when you use symbols, which is a creative part of the mind. And symbols are different. They're multidimensional, which is why I love them. And they make use of our sixth sense of intuition so that they relay multi-level information to us about emotional responses and coping patterns. So don't worry, don't panic. I'm going to give you an example of that and you get to experience that as well. And if you're an art therapist, you know all about this because people do that in art therapy. You see so much going on in a drawing or a painting. So let me give you an example from my own life, and then we'll get into a practice that you can try. So when I was doing a dream interpretation class at my doctorate program, she asked us to sit down and be quiet. And she said, what is the image for a stress pattern that you have in your life? So I closed my eyes, and I'm going and I saw, what is the image of a stress pattern? And all of a sudden, this image appears. It is a mouse with football pads on. And I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world? And the more I sat with that image, and I could not find a mouse, that's why I found this guy, but he looks pretty weighed down by this padding, doesn't he? So that I realized that the pattern for me was taking on the weight of the world, and that was the mouse and the pads. Or another time I was in my office and I was so stressed out. I had to go get my daughter. I had a client. I had 5 or 6 things going on. And I thought, how am I going to do all this? I closed my eyes. I went within and I just started my practice. And all of a sudden I saw 3 race cars. And I thought, what in the world? I'm not even into racing. And I thought, what is this? And the more I sat with it, I heard the thought, if you're going to run your life wide open, all 3 parts of your life, all your life, you're going to have to take pit stops. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just laughed. I thought, you know, you're super conscious, your wise self has a sense of humor. So I wrote that down. I opened my appointment book up and started writing out breaks that I could take so I wouldn't feel so stressed. So this is where I want your help. What kind of feeling words or thoughts does this image bring up to you? So put that in the chat up here. Go ahead and go to your chat. What do these bars look and feel like? Go ahead and put your thoughts into the chat. Heavy, good. Jailbreak, interesting. Hard and inflexible, nice. Cold, very good. Cold, yes. Boy, you guys are on it. Pressure, I love it. So let me tell you the story and then we'll, I don't know, growth? See that with Brenny? The story was this girl, when we went into the process, she was sitting at the table with her father, and he always intimidated her. And he was loud, and she didn't feel like she could speak up around him. And if she did speak up, she felt like she was going to be shut down. And so when I asked her, well, what image represents that? It was these 3 bars. That sitting at the table with her father, she felt all of these things you guys are saying, cold, the pressure, she had to shut up, felt weighty, it felt hard, inflexible, all of that. You guys are on it. Good. What about this one? This glass, this shattered glass. What is this? Can you put some adjectives, words into the chat? This major disappointment. Good. Opportunity. Okay. Fragile, sharp, broken. Very nice. Breakthrough. Good. So there's several different ways to look at this. Dangerous. I see that. Yes. So scary. Very good. Very good. So this lady was in treatment for substance abuse, and she had broken a lot of promises, and she felt very broken. And this was the image that she got about how she felt shattered inside. Escape. Oh, you guys are all kind of good ideas. This was her image that she got. Okay, here's the opposite side. Let's go with this one. So then we call in the healing image. What does this bring up for you when you see this? One of my clients got this image the other day. Majesty. Nice. Deep breath. I'm relieved too. Hope. Peace. Good. Serenity. I'm loving it. Loving it. You guys are excellent. Unity. Oh, that's nice. Yes. So this is a whole different feel. Doesn't this feel different just looking at it? Just being with this image. This was the new pattern she was bringing in to replace the old image. We got one more. Let's see. Healing. Absolutely. She was in a moment of deep healing, and this is the image she saw. And she felt this image for weeks and weeks later, to the point where she actually went out and got a necklace that represented this, because it was so powerful to her when it came to her, this image. Okay, so this is another guy that I saw, and he had so much fear that every time he would hear anything bad on the news or read something in the paper, he would almost go into panic or anxiety. And so we got to the first image, and we took him back to a memory, and the first image was this red running river. And you may already have thoughts of what that means, right? Like, what in the world? So we're having some people chatting. Good, y'all are into it. I love it. Horror, blood, exactly. Yes, very good. So we took him back, and he went to a time when he was a child. And in this childhood memory, polluted, very good, fear, you guys are on it. And what he saw in this childhood memory was a house, when the time his boat, actually had a boathouse, was on fire. And they woke up in the middle of the night, and this fire was blazing. And it was so terrifying. And he was freaking out, and he went back to this memory. And so this was the old image, and you can imagine this was a newer image as we moved through the work, and we're able to give strategy and purpose to this. And this was the newest image. Sometimes they change to even a better image. So at the final image that came in when we worked with the old one, and the fear around that was this one. And there were cows grazing. There was wildlife. I couldn't find a good enough image for what he saw. There was so much aliveness and amazingness. It was beautiful to see how this imagery helped him. Cord movement. Nice. Yes. Look at the movement in the water. You're right, Sarah. Very nice. So there's all this movement he's having, this shift in his energy. And so I checked in with him a few weeks later. How are you doing? And he said, well, when I see things on the newspaper, I don't panic anymore. I'm not feeling as scared. And I was like, yes, we did it. And so we knew he'd had a big shift using this imagery and the way we use it in this practice. We have more chatting. You guys, I love it. A calm flow. Yes, he'd gotten back into a flow. And what I do love about this work too is it helps people get into those flow states Because when we're in panic and depression, anxiety, PTSD, and trauma, we're not in flow state, meaning we're not integrated and connected in a way that we feel that flow. And that's exactly right. I love all y'all are noticing. All right. So remember the gal we saw earlier with the hard bars sitting at the table with her dad? This was her new image. Don't you love it? She got a pink blanket. So what does this represent to you guys? Do y'all want to give your thoughts on that? Because she really, safety, good, nurturing, comforting. That's what she wanted from her dad at the table, right? Innocence, exactly. She's just this little girl, wide-eyed, wanting to speak out and have all of these qualities you guys just said with her father at the table. And she wasn't able to get that. So when we use these processes, comfortable, trust, I love this. When we use these processes, what we find is we get to the real need, meaning the real need for her were all the things y'all are saying. And so she did not get that real need. So we want to bring that real need into her being through imagery and the way that we set this up. And that is so valuable for her. So she can get the need now. I saw a quote the other day. It said, be what you didn't get as a kid. And I thought, that is so good. You know what I mean? We want to be able to bring those qualities in. So let's try it with you guys. I'd like you to close your eyes, or you can leave them open if you want. And let's just see how this feels. Let's do this practice. Go ahead and close your eyes and go into a stress pattern in your life. And let's ask for an image. I want you to find an image of a stress pattern that you're running right now. And just notice the body sensations, the feelings. Are there any associations, thoughts, colors, people, animals? Just being with this. See what comes to you. And if nothing's coming to you, just what would you think your stress pattern would look like? And just notice what you see or sense and how that feels again in your body and all the different layers of that. So does anyone want to share their stress image? What do you sense? What do you see? Go to the chat. We had some really vivid ones last time on the live stream. Little whirling dust devil. I love that. I love that. Little whirling dust devil. Rocks in a shoe. Very nice. That sounds uncomfortable. Yes. I had one gal last time we did this live stream get Kramer. Kramer came in as her stress pattern. You know how Kramer comes in in the show and he slides in the room? That was her. So here we got rushed from behind. Oh, good one. That's very vivid. Bed of nails. Oh boy, that's a clear image, isn't it? And boy, you can just feel that. Ooh, that stress. That would be very painful. Crowd of people turning away. Yes, very good. Gosh, you guys are on it. A huge group of hypodermic needles coming toward. Oh my Lord. Ow, that sounds awful. Oh, Kenneth. A ship on a rocky ocean. Very good. But these are so vivid. Do you guys not feel how vivid these are? They're amazing. So just noticing now, this may be your stress pattern, and you may want to write it down. We've got heavy cloud with a bit of sunshine peeking through. Well, good. At least we've got some hope there in the future. At the same time, there's a heaviness there. It's trying to work its way. I love this. You guys are on it. So noticing the stress pattern, because we all have them. And then I want you to thank it for coming. And what we normally do with clients, I don't have time to do with you, but we would just take this image and work with it. And we would notice the qualities, and we would find out the emotions and the bodies, the places in the body, and we would work with this to find out what it's trying to tell us. Very good. So thank this image for coming, and you can sit with it later if you want and get more information about it. But now we're going to ask for a pleasant image. What would be good medicine for this image? What would help this image, this stressful image? And we usually don't jump that fast from one to the other, but we're, again, in a limited time tonight, so we're practicing some things. So close your eyes and let's find a pleasant image. What do you sense that's something that's here to help you? And notice how that feels in your body. Nice. So we already have some of the images transforming. So Daniel's got people looking back towards me and walking towards me. What a wonderful shift, Daniel. That's beautiful. Brenny's got the open path in the woods with intrigue. Like, oh, come on. Nice. A breeze in the hammock. Oh, I want to go. Oh, I'm already relaxed. That sounds so good. Nice. So do you sense and feel the difference? White feather blowing in the wind. Boy, that sounds relaxing. A thick moss. So that's a very grounded, comforting. And I like that, Rob, because you had the nails and the moss that seems so much more comfortable to lay on, doesn't it? That's a lovely shift. Very nice. Sitting on a chair on the beach, feeling the waves on my feet. Oh, Chris, let's go. That sounds great. Cupcake's big English Mastiff head in my lap. Oh, your dog's head. And I'm so glad you shared that because we do get animals often that come to people when we call in support for people with these images. That's a beautiful image. That makes me smile. Thank you, guys. You guys are really good at this. So if you want to use these images, and I had a client I had a gal that signed up to work with me come to this last live stream, and she was so cute. She said, I'm using imagery already, and I don't even know the process. She said, but it's already helping my clients. So if you want to use imagery to dive in and try that with clients, you can't hurt anything. The difference, though, with using imagery, and you guys already had a lot of shifts with that, for maximum healing is that we take them through different levels and layers to get to really integrate the new image and help the old image leave. So the old image will stick around as long as it's afraid. So even a connection with the image can bring the focus out of the obsessing mind and into expanded creative perspective. And you can see the client can begin to see there's a larger picture going on here instead of just the tree. And then you can work with them around that. So that's very powerful. Any questions on using images and symbols? You guys have been amazing with this. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer any. Okay, there may be some come up and we'll have a Q&A in a bit. All right, secret number 2, the use of hypnagogic states. So what are hypnagogic states? These are states that we get into that allow for maximum healing. So it's that state that's kind of right before sleep and images begin to arise. So brain science shows us that this state lowers stress hormones, increases creativity, creates a partnership between the left brain and the right intuitive brain, and helps bridge those hemispheres in the brain. Because when clients come in with anxiety, depression, PTSD, trauma, they are stuck. It's like knots in the hair. They're stuck on one side of the brain or the other, usually the left side, overthinking something, obsessing about something over and over, telling the same story. Also, the hypnagogic state reduces flight, fight, and freeze, and it harmonizes the 3 parts of the brain, which are the reptilian, the paleomammalian, and the neocortex, according to the triune brain theory. We're going to go over that very briefly. So the triune brain, what in the world is that? The red part here, the reptilian brain, which is probably how our government's being run about now. And then we have the instinct, that's our survival brain, right? It's like the part that tells us to fight, flight, freeze. Then we have our limbic system and the emotional feeling part. And then we have our neocortex, which is where joy lives, actually up front in the top. And this is language, learning the new language, symbols. Sometimes symbols come from our limbic, and I think some from the neocortex. It's hard to measure that, but we don't truly know. But images and dreams are often have a lot of specific emotional content just for that client. That's what I love about this work. You know that saying when they used to say, I grew up in the Baptist church, and they used to say, God knows every hair in your head. And one of the funny things about that is when people get these images, they are so special and specific for them that it makes me just in awe of the beauty of how personal our healing journey is and how amazing this part of us that can help us is. So this is the triune brain theory, and we want to balance all of these parts to help people get more in harmony. So let me get on my soapbox a minute. A harmonious brain equals a harmonious heart, because our brain and heart are connected, which has pure joy, expansion, and love. Look at that little girl. Don't you just love her? And healthy relationships. This is me and my hubby having a great time on our wedding night. and harmonious and happy world. So as we become more harmonious and get these things into our being, become these qualities more, and can shift out of the old stuff quicker, we're more harmonious. So how would you like this for your clients? A balanced brain, increased creativity in the midst of stress instead of powerlessness and hopelessness, and harmonious relationships instead of struggle. Wouldn't that be nice? I love seeing that when my clients go back and they're like, I was able to communicate with my husband or communicate with my partner better because I felt calmer inside, or I knew more what was going on and could explain it, or whatever, or I felt safer in my body. I wasn't triggered so quickly. And then joy, freedom, and flow and expansion instead of contraction. And then a happy, content heart instead of suffering. You can have these things. So secret number 3, I know we blew through secret number 2, but the hypnagogic states are hard to teach over an online course. But there are things that you set people up with. So if you're trained in other modalities, you may have already helped people get to their safe place. And those kind of things, those help with hypnagogic states to help the person be more creative. People pay a lot to get hypnagogic states. And the reason is because of that potential for eureka. When the brain is balanced and you're in those states, you have more potential for those peak experiences, as I went through when I had my healing from the panic. As these peak experiences, they call it in transpersonal psychology, come when you're in a certain alignment, basically. So it's really cool to see that for clients, and we want to help them to align with those parts of themselves that can help them do that. Okay, secret number 3. The other thing I'll say real quick about the hypnagogic states is the salt. People pay a lot of money to do this. I think I mentioned that, the salt spa and the beach and all these things people do to get to these balanced, beautiful places. And these soul-based processes do that. So 3 levels of consciousness. Understanding those helps us help our client more. So how do we help them? We don't even have to explain it like mentally. How do we help them access these and build new levels of consciousness? The soul-based practices were built at a time when there was a lot of drug experimentation with clients, and they were trying to find out how do we get clients out of these stuck places and into different states of consciousness. And so these processes were created during a time they were giving people lots of different, you could do a lot of crazy things to people back in the day, and you can't do those anymore, but how do you find a natural way to help people shift into a really beautiful place? And this is what we're talking about in terms of shifting their consciousness, and these soul-based practices were created during those times. My friend drew this, and I just love this. So the 3 levels of consciousness are our subconscious mind, which is we have dreams, helping people interpret their dreams, symbols, insights, visions, and unconscious experiences. I'm always blown away that when we go into this process with clients, it will take them back to something and they're like, well, that's weird. I didn't know that was a trauma or that bothered me. And they're there. Now, some of them are obvious and clear, right? Like the fire with the guy that I shared with you. That would be a very obvious trauma. But some of them are like sitting at the table with your dad. You wouldn't have known that maybe that traumatized you as bad as it did, but that was a pattern for that gal, right? She was used to shutting herself down and feeling that coldness from others, and she transferred that into her other relationship. So that was important to get her to that subconscious knowing, so we could help her shift that. Very, very important to use that level of consciousness. And then consciousness, which is the very little part of what we know about ourselves, right? These are our conditioning, our actions, our attitudes, how we see ourselves and the world. And this is the part we know about ourselves. And again, that's very, very, very little. And then the superconscious. In my training, they call it a superconscious self. And it's the joy, love, peace, wisdom, intuition. All those things live there. And how do you know? People say, how do you know they're connected to their soul? Well, if this is not their soul, what is? And when they have these experiences, when they sense that peace and love and joy, and their whole demeanor changes and they feel better, it's really a mini miracle of sorts that they are able to tap into these parts of themselves, and they can experience that. And they begin to feel very, very different. I love that image of the meditation cloth. I don't know if you guys have ever trained in any kind of meditation, but they use the image of the meditation cloth. When you drop the meditation cloth in the dye and you bring it back up and you drop it in and you bring it back up, the more these processes integrate into the being, the more the person becomes these qualities. So I love the saying, the subconscious mind is wiser than the conscious mind. Einstein said that. And so we want to use the wisdom of this part for healing. It's all there. The healing is all there. We just have to know how to use it. So Eckhart Tolle said, I love this quote, if we're trapped in incessant streams of compulsive thinking, the universe really disintegrates for us, and we lose the ability to sense the interconnectedness of all that exists. So you know that feeling. We've all been there when we've been trapped in incessant compulsive thinking, and we don't feel connected to anything. And this is the hope of these practices and other practices too. This is not the only one in the market that does connection work, is that we're able to get deep connection and movement in our lives and for the lives of the clients. We want people to tap into that interconnectedness. So when they look at the sunset, they really see the sunset, right? Or when they get a hug from their partner, they really feel that hug from their partner. They're not disconnected. So the superconscious, what is it? No wonder we're obsessed with Wonder Woman, Black Panther, all these things. It almost feels a bit extraordinary when people experience these superconscious places. And they sometimes leave the session feeling a little altered. And so we have to kind of help them get in there, really bring it in. And we do a breathing at the end, really bring it into the body, because we don't want them going out there with these new levels of experience jumping in their car. So it's like the superconscious is that part that has the healing medicine as well as the subconscious. We use all those levels. Or like Superman, or like my daughter who's a teenager. She thinks she's super conscious. Or the Dalai Lama, look at him. He's probably mastered his super consciousness. He's the most amazing person. He's had so much trauma, this man. And he has been able to find peace, love, joy, and compassion in his being. And he meditates 4 hours a day. But we don't worry about that. We don't have to do exactly that. So, do you want your clients to be able to connect to their soul, step out of the way, and allow the wisdom? Do you want to step out of the way and allow their inner wisdom to do its job? And do you want to experience more joy, awe, and flow with your clients? So you have more energy and they have more energy. And for me, it gives me more hope and belief in the power of my soul every time I see people connect to their inner truth and their inner healing. So these are our 3 secrets: connecting to the soul through images and symbols, learning to use hypnagogic states, and understanding 3 levels of consciousness. So let's stop for some questions. I'm going to unmute you guys, and then we're going to go into some other ways that I'm going to share with you some of my programs that I have that can help you learn this even further if you want to stick with me. Let me find how to do this. Yes. Unmute all. Fantastic. So you're unmuted. Let's see how we do sound-wise. So any questions from people on these soul-based practices so far and what you've learned? How they might integrate with other people, how they might integrate with other issues, other practices. Any other questions? Don't be shy. You can put it in the chat if you don't want to chat it out.
I think the image, Shannon, this is Brenny. I think the images you talk about can really make a difference to someone, because they may not cognitively get it.
Yes.
But if you look at the image.
Yes.
Someone told me once, look more at the images you are thinking rather than just the words.
That is exactly right. It's kind of like it takes you out of the mental patterning and into the bigger picture. And so they're very, very powerful. So I totally agree with you. Anybody else? In the chat. Somebody else. Daniel, do you have a question?
Part of what you do to, yes, Daniel here. Is part of what you do to help clients kind of track their hypnagogic states, and maybe do you have like techniques for helping them to, remember that stuff? Because if it's stuff that's happening right before you go to sleep, a lot of times in the morning, I have no idea what I was experiencing right before I went to sleep. And I've been interested in doing some more stuff around lucid dreaming and those kinds of things.
Yes,
yes. For helping to remember those things and to participate in them and so on. So is that part of what you do?
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because I take notes the whole time I'm working with someone, because they usually don't remember all the details. They remember how it felt, and they remember how their body feels, and they remember the shifts. It's like an energy psychology process that way. They remember the energy experience of it, but they don't remember the details as much. And I'm tracking that, right? So I'm taking the notes, and then when I give it to them at the end, they remember. It's not like they're hypnotized and they can't, but they remember and they don't remember. Like you said, it's kind of, they're in that, they're writing that timeline in their lives through different tracks. And it's a big thing. It's very, very cool to see. Very, very cool. Did that answer your question?
So you're giving them an experience during the session where they can kind of go to some of these states?
Yes. The whole process that I do, it's a 15-step process, takes them into the states of consciousness and moves them into the superconscious.
I see.
And we use some of these secrets that I share with you today to do that. And there's a strategy behind that. So thank you for asking. That's really helpful.
Cool.
So Tamara, please tell me if I'm saying your name right. I can see you now. Can you nod, or you want to come on and tell me? No? Tamara.
Tamara.
Tamara!
That's okay. I'll answer to any of them.
Thank you so much, Tamara. So your question is about the approach about the Bonnie method of guided imagery and music? Yes. Yes. During that time, the guided imagery work, the lady that created this process and her husband, they created this process that I'm going to be teaching in a July training coming up. They worked with this work, and the lady was an artist. And so she used her art as therapy to heal herself from a disease as a child. And so she brought that wisdom into this process, and then of course learned the somatic piece and the emotion piece and the higher calling and the higher self piece. But yes, the guided imagery and music Bonnie method is something that I've heard them talk about. So that's beautiful.
Cool. Thanks.
You're on it. Do you have any other questions?
Nope.
Any other questions before we move on? You guys are amazing. So happy you're here. This is such a treat for me. All right. So this is Donna, and she was in my training group last year. And she said, after doing this work, this is why I became a therapist, to help people connect with their truest self. And so I said, can I write that down? I said, that's so powerful, what you just said. And she said, of course. So I wrote that down. And then another gal said she loves the depth of integration in spirituality and psychology. So we're using the spirituality and the psychological tools. And she said it's very inspirational, practical, and useful. I love the word practical when it comes to spiritual psychology. I think that is so cool that people can feel the practicality of this when they experience it. And of course, she said the whole self was used throughout the day. We have a whole self model that we do, and we go into the whole self and find out how to use that with clients to bring the more whole self model into the session. So it's pretty cool like that. So if you wanted to continue this conversation and actually implement this into your practice, would any of you be interested in learning more about how that could happen? Would you put that in the chat? Just say yes, or I don't know, or maybe, or no, or whatever you say. We've got yes, and yes, yay, goody. We're so excited. I love the enthusiasm. So we are going to see what is coming up. People can learn this more. So I'm holding a training in July called How to Integrate Spirit and Soul into Your Practice. And we're going to be going into these tools in more depth, which I wish I could teach you tonight. I'm so into it right now. But tools to take your clients from trauma to lasting joy. And so the full body joy and the love and the all is what you will experience during these processes, as well as the gratitude and energy that you help someone by learning these things. And also, would you like to stop being large and in charge? I love that thing. You know, like me with the mouse pads on, and the let go, let God, that saying in your practice. You want to really bring that into your practice. This is a way to truly do that. Giving clients the reins to their lives. And this is what produces power for folks. They get the reins to their lives. They're like, heck yeah, I can do this, right? And they get the experience to take home with them. They don't get dependent on you, which is what I love. So I'm having a retreat called the Spirit and Soul Retreat. And one of the gals said to my last retreat, I'm an excellent teacher of complex material. And she enjoyed the dancing. We do dancing. Don't let that scare you. And connecting with others, and the inner counselor process, which is the process that I've taken, and a few of you know about this process that I've taken you through. So that's part of it. And then I think I'm going to put people on mute because I hear some background noise. So give me 1 second. We'll come back. All right, great. So then one of my LPC gals, she said, I love the workshop. The role playing and processing was helpful. It helped her get a better understanding of the steps. Just want you to know what you would get if you were to come to my training in July. The energy was extremely helpful. Of course, we have another dancing, movement, quotes in the process. Those are all things that people enjoyed. And getting in touch with your intuition more. I did this process with a gal last week, and she said, I feel so much more creative already. I just can't even tell you how happy I am to feel creative when I have stress. I start to feel more creative, and I feel less stressed. And I laughed. The last time I did this process, my dad has passed on, but he used to say, you're weird. Shannon, you're just a little weird. And or you're just different. And so one of the gals wrote on her testimonial, she said, I love everything about Dr. Shannon's trainings. They're just very different than usual seminars. That got me so tickled. I said my dad would be proud. He was right. And then they also said they love the energy. And some of the gals liked the joy team exercise we did, the meditations. Actually, this was a guy, David. And the inner counselor demo and a close-up look at the process, because we actually do the process and you get to break up in dyads and actually learn it. It's super fun. So how do you bring this into your work? This is the nitty-gritty and how that would look. We talked about this. So I have an offer for you guys today if you guys are interested in moving on and coming to the July training. This is a 2-day dip into the language of the soul deep dive, and you'll get to practice these tools, and they'll help again with trauma patterns, depression. I also work a lot with complexes of insecurity and loneliness and unworthiness. Do you guys see that much? I mean, it seems like everybody's got some kind of complex of insecurity, loneliness, and unworthiness. We're having some chatting here. Yes, exactly. Everybody feels unworthy or insecure on some darn level. And so how do we work with this? And in this process, it doesn't have to be a massive trauma. You can actually do that to really shift it. Like attachment patterns, exactly. When people have their attachment patterns, and it's so many deep, deep layers to that, we get to that. We get to the root of that. And anxiety patterns and disconnection and fear. It seems like a lot of my clients have that. And then shame and doubt, reactive triggers. This process is showing when they do science with it and give people the anxiety scales, the depression scale, and then they also give people a perception of inventory, and what they're finding is it helps with impulsivity as well in 1 to 4 sessions. So if you use this, it helps shift these triggers, the reactive triggers, to where by 1 to 4 sessions, it could happen the first sessions, it could be not till session 4, they feel less impulsive and more whole and more integrated. It also helps transform mental obsessing, addictive patterns, and more. We even had a gal do this with a guy at the community center, and he was able to stop using the drug he was using after 4 sessions. It was amazing. And that's not, I'm not saying that happens every time. So here's what else you get if you come to the 2-day immersion. You get the powerful tools that I'm teaching you now and more. You'll get a dive into your own inner consciousness, and you'll bring back the gold for yourself, and you'll have your high self-connection exercises to strengthen this relationship inside of you. You'll get your dancing, which is in between sessions, so don't worry if you want to bow out, you don't have to dance. You get mindfulness and beyond. We're going to do some mindfulness work. And then an opportunity to meet your inner counselor to clear out trauma patterns for yourself, so you can ignite the peace and power in yourself. And how much does this cost? I think it's priceless, but let's get into that because I do have to feed my kid and send her to school. So you also get time to hike, reflect, meditate, and integrate the opposites inside of you. We all have them. And experience the healing power of your soul before you offer it to your clients. So let's get together and do this. Tap into the experience, aliveness, wholeness, joy, peace, and love of your soul. Mother Teresa, this is one of my favorite quotes. I use it in almost every seminar. And I believe this to the depths of my being. And some people may say, you're glass half full too much, but this is how I truly believe. There's a light in this world more powerful than any darkness we may encounter. And if we can help clients get to that light, remember somebody saw the image of the light coming through, and somebody, then we can help them transform their lives because they know there's hope and they can actually get that, become the person that they want to be. Because life's tough. And another thing that this process will do, and I'll be quiet soon, I promise, it will let you find an inner shelter to go to so that no one can take that away from you. You know, they used to say depression was caused by an external locus of control, to where you're always focused on the outside and the outside circumstances, or what's happening on the news, or what's happening with the president, or what's happening in your relationship, or what's happening then. But this gives you an inner sense of positive control. There's a place you can go to at any time. And that's what's so powerful about this integration process. So in the 2-day immersion, you'll also gain an understanding of the primary tenets of spiritual psychology. We're going to cover self-actualization, integration, levels of consciousness, peak experiences, all these awesome transpersonal things. And I valued that at $2,000 because when I got trained and got my class, I had a whole semester on this, plus many, many, many internships and weekend-long retreats to learn all this. So it was a long process for me to really get this in my bones and teach it and learn. Also, you get to experience a time-tested process, which is the one I've been telling you about, over 30 years of research and tweaking and seeing how this works to help people connect directly to their soul selves for healing. And I just said that's just even totally priceless. So what else do you get? Tools to get to the root of your client's problems. And you answer these questions for your clients. What do they really want and need? Why do they feel and respond as they do? And how can they change the direction of that? And those are 3 very powerful questions for clients. And I value that at $9.99. Gosh, if you go to these landmark seminars for 3 days, they're way more expensive than that. And then time and focus to dive into the soul-based interventions and transform the shadows. But I'm not going to charge you these. I'm just telling you the value. So there's more. There's a way to address personal trauma, family patterns, and multidimensional patterns. Things come in patterns, don't they? People pass them down from every generation. Boom, 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 boom. And so we're going to address those multidimensional patterns and how they get passed down. And you'll get your own personal healing breakthrough session with other professionals you're there with, and maybe even me, because I do a lottery thing. And if you do my long course, you'll actually get to work with me and do this work with me. But we also break up in dyads, and I'm supervising you, and it's super fun. And then consistent healing for your clients. And you get a retreat in the mountains of North Carolina. That's priceless for your mental health already. So I'm going over the details of this 2-day. So here we are. This is where it is. This is at the Sanctuary in the Pines in Flat Rock. And it's Highland Lake Retreat Center is the name of it. And we are by the lake in this gorgeous lakeside retreat center. And also, I'm so pumped to tell you, I have 11 professional development hours for those of you who need CEUs. I just got those this year for my own self to lead these, even though I've been doing them forever and the agencies had them for me. So I was thrilled. And Substance Abuse Board approved CEUs. So this is really exciting. And this place is beautiful. We won't be sitting outside. We'll be inside. But I just wanted to kind of give you a glimpse of where we'll be. Yay. Thank you. No doubt. That was a big, big excitement for me when those CEUs came rolling in. So I value it a $3,000 value for this whole thing. But I'm only going to charge you $597. And that would be if you pay in full, because I want you to have this work. I would give it away on the street if I could, but I truly know that when people pay and commit, they get even more out of it. So I want you to honor that part in yourself, because if you know this work is for you, let's dive right in and come on, because we're going to have a great time. So you can sign up now if you want at soulbasedpractice.com, or you can email me at drshannonsouth@yahoo, or you can ask me some questions right now. Yay. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you can join us. And then I have one more surprise for you. I really want y'all to connect to this healing potential of the soul. So I've added on another bonus for you. So just hang tight. I have a VIP offer. And this is incorrect. I've changed it. It says it ends at 11 tonight. Actually, no. You get till tomorrow to decide if you want to do this with the deal that I'm going to offer you today, because I'm so pumped about it. I want to give you more time just to be with yourself. I hate to feel that pressure. And so tomorrow at 12 p.m., I will be changing my thing. And so the VIP offer will go away. But I want to tell you what it is, because I really want you to be there with me if you can. So it's the Spiritual Mastery Deep Dive Program, which is the 2-day program, plus the 3-month follow-up mastery program. And that's only 10 to 12 people. And it's a very small group, and we're going to master this stuff. And you get to do it more yourself, as well as you get to do it and bring in your clients. You get to go back out and do it with clients and come back in and get the consultation from me and your group. It's so much fun. And that's on Zoom, and we have a great time. We have a ball. So who is this deeper program for? Only those who want to yearn for more and really want to master this approach. Now, you can go leave the 2-day and go back and do it, fine. But if you want to master it, like how does this work with eating disorders? And how does this work with sexual abuse? And how does this work with all these other things that come in our door? We get so much complex stuff coming at us. Grief and loss, people dying. I mean, it's like, how do we do all this? And if you want the support for that, this is great because you get 3 months to go out, use it, and come back. What I've found is the most challenging part for clinicians is the integration piece. Like the old pattern and the new pattern are in war with each other, and they're like fighting. And that's the most challenging part. That's the mastery piece, to learn how to move them fully into the new pattern and help that old pattern get what it needs so it will let go. So you'll get, in this program, you'll get case consultations with me. You'll get guaranteed one-on-one support from myself and access to me and 10 or 12 other professionals in your group. We have 6 video conference calls virtually from anywhere, unless you're in the Mojave Desert and can't get to me. It's going to be packed full of support, spiritual psychology topics. Oh, and you also get this killer manual called The Journey to Awakening from my mentors. They wrote this manual, and it is deep, amazing, beautiful stuff. And the value for this 3-month thing is at least $1,000. Because if you get supervision, it's insane. And then small groups, like I've already said that to you, for the case consultation, and you can bring all your specific issues from your clients to these groups for 3 months. And this VIP offer fills up pretty fast because it's only 10 or 12. So if you know you're in by 12 o'clock tomorrow, let me know and sign up, because this is if you're serious about this stuff. And then you'll get an hour-long integration session with me. And I can do this over the phone, over Skype, or in person. It doesn't matter. This energy psychology work works over the phone like a champ. I can't even believe how well it works over the phone and over Skype. So don't let that stop you. And I'll mention the manual you'll get, as well as the support, the connection, the healing, and the confidence in working with clients like this. And confidence in your own deeper, wiser self. So that's super, super valuable. So don't try to do it all alone. You know, some people leave this and they're like, I've got this. I'm going to try it. And you can try some of this stuff, but there is a strategy. And sometimes if we don't have a strategy and we don't have a process that's time tested, we don't know what to do with all the stuff coming at us to really get to the place we need to get for the clients and ourselves. So try not to do it all alone. If this interests you, really dive in, because it makes things look really heavy, doesn't it? This poor guy. Oh, so the VIP offer is How to Integrate Spirit and Soul, 2-day plus the 3-month deep dive. And that's a $6,000 value if you look at the whole value of what I've put into it for my training, as well as the years of experience. So I'm going to give it to you for $999. $999. I don't even have it on here. So, or you can do a payment plan. Aw, thank you, Chris. Yay, I'm so glad. I tell you, this stuff is infectious to me. She says, this stuff is infectious. I feel the same way. I'm like, this is like the love of my life outside of the people in my life. I just love this stuff. Or you can do 2 payments of $500. The payment plan is a little more. But if you sign up by tomorrow, I've already got it linked up for $999 for this VIP program. Oh, and I've just told you the gift. Darn it. I got way ahead of myself. Because I'm committed and devoted to you, the first 10 that sign up get it for $999. Can you believe it? So we only had, what the heck? I'm giving it away. So that's a savings of $300 for the regular price. And, I'm not good at keeping surprises. My mom always told me that. She's like, if I guess I'd been Santa Claus, I would have blown it and told the secret before. But anyway, that's the VIP package for $999. So I'd love for you to do it if you want to do it tomorrow. Are there any questions on that? This is what it'll look like when you register. if you want to do it. So you have your 2-day option here, or you have your 2-day plus the deep dive program, 3-month program here. But when you click on there, it'll do $9.99. It will give you the special before tomorrow at 12. So, and again, that's a limited program, only 10 or 12, and then that's it. So that's the VIP option, and I'd love to have you there. So my wish for you is you can ignite this part in you, like my client that said, do something every day that scares you, that you can expand into this work, you can expand into yourself. And like Rumi said, let yourself silently be drawn to your heart's calling. It will not lead you astray. So if your heart says, do it, you'll figure the rest out, and it will work out really well for you, because I think it's one of the reasons my practice has been so successful is that I get referred people who want something different. They've done talk therapy, they've done EMDR, they've done EFT, they've done everything they can think of, but not a lot of people are doing this yet. And it is pretty exciting. So, and then when you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. I love that saying. So let's get in contact with that connection in us, because it will bring you more joy. So let's do this. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so happy you're here. This is such a treat. So I'm going to open this up for any questions, and then we're going to wrap up. You can put them in the chat. Absolutely. Yay, Brennyman in Costa Rica. We're going to go to Costa Rica and hang out with Brenny and see the monkeys. I want to see. So let's open this up and see if there's any questions on my offer or what we're doing. And I need to unmute you guys. You're unmuted. Oh, that was loud. Sorry. So are there any questions on the offer, what I'm offering, what you can do about it, the VIP thing, the whole thing, that are just burning, that you guys have got to get out there that you haven't had a chance to share, or just any reflections you'd like to share? I think some of you have already done that on the chat, and I appreciate that. I really do. I see some chatting. You guys are really comfortable with this format. Yay. Awesome, Daniel. Thank you so much. So happy you're here. We've got some very amazing people on the call that have some amazing transformative processes they use. And so it's really lovely to know that, and know that there's other ways as well to access this wonderful healing, inner healer that we can get to. More questions. With IFS. That's so good you asked that. I got asked that on the last one. How does this integrate with IFS? I think it would be perfect. And the reason I say that is because IFS has all the different parts. And when you, let's say if you had the, I'm trained enough in IFS to be dangerous. So you can correct me, Rob. But the parts, there's the survival parts that you would integrate and help move into the more, we call it in this work, moving from the downdraft to the updraft. Because if they're using the survival part when they don't need it, they're in a downdraft, right? So they've got their firefighter out trying to make some huge thing when they really don't need it. Their peaceful monk side would be doing just fine, handling it, so to speak. I think it would integrate beautifully with IFS. Now, I've integrated with EMDR some. That's been really powerful. But I usually do it alone, but sometimes we will integrate it with other processes. Exciting to see the spiritual side be brought into the world. Thank you, Daniel. I'm telling you, I feel like it's time that we need more peak experiences and positive things coming out there, because we got enough of the negative. Oh, so we got lost Chris. Sorry about that. Thank you, Meg. I'm glad. Great. Go sleep on this. Sounds wonderful. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And Brenny will be in Europe. We can't even tie you down to get you to Asheville, can we, Brenny? We have so much to offer. Have to leave for now. Thank you, guys. Oh, Sid. Hey, Sid's here. Great. Oh, my gosh. What a treat. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. Feel free to reach out. And just know that by tomorrow at 12, I hope to have many of you with me, joining me in July. And we're going to have a great journey together. So I'm so grateful that you're here. And if you have any other burning questions, please email me, because I'm so excited to be with you guys. I can't stand it. All right. Well, take good care, and sending all my love. You guys are the best. and I'll hear from you at some point, hopefully by tomorrow before 12. You clearly can sign up after that, but you know what? You won't get the deal. Thanks, Sarah. Hugs to you. Oh my gosh. Bye, everybody. Oh, thank you for coming. Oh, we got more questions. Thank you. Oh, yay. Oh, dang. Really? You're doing the Bonnie level? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you. But this is even more extensive and inclusive, I hate to tell you. So come do it with me. That would be great. Yeah, because they use that method. So you'd be so pumped. You'd be right on it. You really would. Is that in July? Oh, man. Well, it'll work out when it's supposed to. Absolutely. We can talk. Why don't you message me and we'll talk if you want to talk further. Okay? I would like that because I have a few thoughts on that. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. We got one more chat. Oh, man. All right. Well, bum. Well, we'll work something out. I might have some other ideas, but I don't know what they are quite yet. But let's talk. I do have some ideas, actually. All right, guys, take care of yourself. I'm going to end this, and I will hopefully hear from you tomorrow. All right, bye.